This week on the House of Faith and Fashion, we have a very demure and mindful hallelujah fashion moment. But visiting me this week is the one and only Natalia Fedner, who is dressing every single superstar with her amazing fabric, which is kind of like a combination of jewelry and fabric. I don't even know how she does it, but there isn't a star that's not wearing her clothes. She's had such an enormous impact on this industry. Plus a word or two, or even more, from my favorite fashion doctor, Dr. Ashley Raziki from St. Thomas University. So get ready for the House of Faith and Fashion. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of the House of Faith and Fashion. I'm your host, Toby Rubenstein, best-selling author of these two babies, The House of Faith and Fashion and Haute and Holy. And today I have a very special episode for all you visitors out there. I am being visited by the one and only Natalia Fedner. Oh, she's so talented. She figured out how to fuse jewelry and fabric together, and she's on every hot celebrity there is. Every time I go to her Instagram page, she is dressing Megan Thee Stallion, Cardi B. I don't even know, Katy Perry, everybody. I don't even know how she does it. But right now, get ready for my hallelujah fashion moment. And if you've been watching this show, it comes as no surprise to you that the demure look is really taking over. Listen, it's all over TikTok. I don't even know how it really started, this mindful and demure, but I'm going to interpret this as being modest. And of course, I even put on my bow shirt today from Kobe Halpern and my wonderful coat from Simkai. But listen, I am a big advocate of modest fashion because I think, hey, everybody should look like Kate Middleton. But last season, we had the owner of the fastest growing modest fashion line, House of Lancry from London. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it demure. You can call it conservative, which is totally not conservative, but it is modest. But I've got to tell you, it is a major fashion category and slotted to do $375 billion worth of business coming in 2025. Now, I know this is a little bit of a flip and a contrast because Natalia is not very well known for being anyway demure or mindful, but her stuff is so wow. She pushes the boundaries in the fashion industry with her innovative haute couture designs. And like I said, I don't know what designer, I don't know what superstar is not wearing her fantastic designs. And really, I mean, they're outstanding. And I know once you meet her and know all about her, you're going to know, oh, I saw that on Beyoncé. Yeah, you definitely saw it on Beyoncé. So welcome back to the House of Faith and Fashion, and please give a warm welcome to Natalia Fedner.
Hi, Toby. Thank you so much for having me on your show.
Did you like that introduction? I don't even know how to do you justice. You're so talented and you're on so many superstars that actually it's not even kind. It's the truth. How do you keep track of all these celebrities that you dress? And go ahead and name them all, because I'm sure I forgot 100 of them. I just named Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion, and Katy Perry. I mean, you know,
oh my gosh,
bigger than that, but go ahead, go.
No, I mean, I don't know if I can keep track of them. Honestly, I'm very forward facing, and so I'm just always on to the next project. Sometimes, especially during very busy periods, I don't even register what happened until 6 months later. So I have this little book. I keep it in the office and it's on my website, which is like my celebrity portfolio. And sometimes I flip through it and I go, oh my God, I did dress Janet Jackson. Like, whoa, like, you know, Cher is in there, and all sorts of incredible people like Lenny Kravitz. Who else do I mean, of course, like you said, there's Beyonce, there's J-Lo and Shakira, who's someone I worked with recently. There's just a lot of my childhood idols, which is pretty incredible for me.
It is massively incredible for you. I'm first of all, I'm so proud of you. You know, I told you this privately. I really am so proud of you. But tell me, how would you label your look? Like, I'm going to say you're totally opposite from my hallelujah fashion moment, which is mindful and demure. That's why I think this is such a funny thing. I did put on my jewels. I mean, I've got
Nice.
my
I like the sparkle.
I got my Stimkai jewels on, but
Nice.
I am in awe of what you're doing. So please explain to the audience. I know what you're doing. What are you doing?
Well, so I love making things from scratch. I love to cook. I love to draw. I like to sculpt. And it's no different when it comes to my fashion design. I love the ability to make the textile and then make the garment. It gives you the ultimate sense of control. And so I've always come at design from this perspective. And so when I was studying at Parsons in New York and in Paris, I was attracted to textile design and surface design and the engineering aspects of making a fabric. And all of that sort of brewed in my head for years and years. And I incorporated a lot of those techniques. And when I was starting my brand, I went through this whole experimentation phase. And part of the results of that experimentation was this metal textile. When I made this, I honestly,
It's gorgeous. I mean, you can't even get the gist from the camera. It's just you really. I'm really like aghast because I said to you, I think this is like you're channeling Cleopatra for what she
oh,
probably wore in her aesthetic, because it's just so beautiful. So how did you come up with this idea? And were you trained to weave or what?
so
What
my mom taught me how to knit when I was pretty young, and then when I was in high school, I took some classes at Columbus College of Art and Design, and I learned to weave. And then my mom taught me how to crochet. And then when I went to Parsons, I studied all sorts of different techniques, from batik to surface design to um, different looms and tools and machines that you can use to make textiles. So I do have a background in it for sure.
I would definitely say so. And your background started with your mom, who gave you a great foundation to be able to come up with this. Um, Listen, I just want to know, how did this transition from this wonderful way of weaving fabric into these designs and then onto your clientele? What's the path of Natalia?
Oh, whew. That's a whole lot. That's a big question,
I
Toby.
know, I know. Break it down. Take whatever part you want.
I'll try to break it down. I'm
Go
very
ahead.
talkative, so I'll try to keep it simple.
No,
Um,
don't. We don't keep it simple on this show. Talk. Go ahead.
okay, so I started my line when I was 30, and when I was starting it out, I had the incredible fortune of meeting a tailor in Los Angeles named Ludmila Tomaszewskaja, and she actually helped me make my first collection, which was very different than what you see today, but it was my
Mhm.
first collection. She helped me make it in exchange for me designing her website. At the time, I had a background in website design and I didn't have much money, but I had skills. And so we exchanged services and we got to know each other through the process, and we just really bonded. And she was famous in Hollywood for doing a lot of alterations for big celebrities like Christina Aguilera and Kim Kardashian. And so when I finished my collection, she sort of acted like I like to joke that she's my fairy god sister.
Mm.
And I came to her and I was like, look, all of my fashion connections are in New York. I really don't know people here in LA. Can you please help me? So she pointed me to this incredible Israeli photographer who I did my first photo shoot with. And
Wow.
those photos were just stunning in black and white and very dramatic. And then I did the photos and I was like, okay, Ludmila, I did the photos, but I really need to get these out there into the world. And she's like, sit down at my computer, just attach the photos, type what you want to say, and I'm going to fill in the two part of the email, like the stylist. We're going to send it to some stylists. So I put
Wow.
together this email and she sent it to Kim Kardashian's stylist, Beyonce's stylist, Shakira's stylist at the time. And it was a really kind gesture. She was giving me access to her network, which is everything when you're starting out, especially in a town like Los Angeles.
Yes.
And within a day, I had responses. And within a couple days, those big celebrities were pulling my garments. So I always like to say and credit Ludmila for that jump off point,
Yes.
because without that, I think it would have taken much longer to get to where I've gotten to. And also, it's a reflection of something I really value and believe in, which is that kindness can get you further than almost anything else.
I couldn't agree with you more. And it's such a quality to have, especially in the fashion industry, that doesn't really necessarily have the reputation of being that friendly and community oriented. But the truth is, if you find a talent that you believe in and you want to nurture and see it grow, you need to put in the time and effort and the friendship. Like, for instance, it kind of sounds like how I met you. I met you through a community that we both belong to. And I reached out to you and went, oh my God, do you know this one? Do you know that one? Do you know that? Because your stuff is so incredible. So I think that this is a very, very good lesson for young designers out there to understand that you can find a mentor and lean on somebody that will help you. And that's a great way to, like you said, jump off your career.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And of course, and I have to add that, of course, the technical skills, the years of studying, all the internships, all the years and years before that prepared me for that, so that once the celebrities were excited about me and their teams and stylists were asking me for the garments, I was ready to deliver. I think that's a big part of the equation. Hustle is super important, but you have to have something to back up the hustle. So it's like
Exactly.
it's a part equation.
Right. There's no such thing as an overnight sensation. It takes
Oh my gosh, no.
No, it takes 10 to 20 years to be the overnight. I totally get you. But tell me, do you have a favorite look or favorite celebrity that you like to say, oh my God, she's my favorite, or he's my favorite? Because I know you do both male and female. I know that you do everybody. Lenny Kravitz. I have to digest this. Okay.
I mean, honestly, it's like telling me to pick between my babies.
Oh, okay. Well, is there anyone that you haven't dressed yet that you want to? Shout it out now.
I have not dressed Lady Gaga. I have been wanting to dress her. I have had my garments in her vicinity. Her team has borrowed things, but the placements have not occurred yet. And also a big one for me is Madonna. I just love that woman. And I have dressed her daughter. I've dressed Lola. But I haven't quite had a Madonna moment yet. So, and Rihanna. So like I have some big ladies out there.
Oh, okay. So listen, Rihanna, Madonna, and Lady Gaga, if you happen to be watching my show, which would be good enough for me, but if you're watching, yes, I love you also, but you got to go to Natalia.
And I do want to answer your question, Toby. I have really enjoyed working with Lenny Kravitz. He is as delightful as you think he is. He is as charming and mindful and just a really great human being. He makes everybody in the room feel special. So he's probably one of my favorite people to work with. I really also enjoy Megan Thee Stallion a lot. I found her to be just really real and grounded and just so fun. And the truth is, I don't get to meet every single celebrity I work with, so my answer to this question is limited by my personal experiences. A lot of the times, like someone like J-Lo, I've never met her. I've worked with her team. So, sometimes the team can be everything, I think that it trickles down. So when you have a really amazing celebrity, a lot of the times their team will also be super kind and amazing because it's just like that energy flows out.
Speaking of energy, how do you maintain such a positive attitude in such a competitive field, especially dressing celebrities?
Well, I think I kind of have a bubble. When you first study fashion, when I was at Parsons in New York, they really talk about the industry and working within the industry. And I really believe networking is important, and I still do it to this day. But I also think it's really important to protect ourselves as artists. Artists, by our nature, we are sensitive creatures. That is why we produce art, because we have all this sensitivity to everything in the world. So you can water that down and get really lost in the mix if you become too concerned about what everybody else is doing, what is trending. And so when I started my line, I was already 30. I already had a lot of years under my belt as a human and as an artist. So I knew that when I started my brand, I wanted to model it off of an experience I had in Paris with a designer named Junichi Hakamaki, who is a Japanese designer who actually worked for Tom Ford and Donna Karan and had his own line in Milan, and then started an Haute Couture line in Paris, which is when I was interning for him. And he had this business model, which was unlike anything I had seen in New York, where we would just come to work every day. There was like 5, 6 of us, and we would just like hand stitch, and we would go to the farmer's market around the corner and pick up groceries, and then we would make lunch together. And it was just the most soul enriching experience. And I thought, I love that. I know it's small. I don't know that it's necessarily scalable, but it
Mhm.
really made me so happy. So when I started my brand, I wanted to model the way that I ran my company off of that.
That's amazing, and it actually gives me a good segue into the faith-based part of it, because you're already approaching the subject of soul and being nourished as an artist, as opposed to just, I'm a fashion designer. What can I do for my consumer this season? What's hot that
Yeah.
won't be, the following season? So I've got a round of questions. And I want to know, how much faith do you need to be in business?
Oh, I think you need a lot of faith to be in business. I don't know how anybody else answers this question, but I would be shocked if anybody said anything other than that. Because every single day you wake up to uncertainty. You are not employed
Mhm.
by someone else, you are employed by yourself. And
Right.
so you have to have so much faith in everything that you are doing, in
Hmm.
in the universe, and in everything, that it's all going to come together, because sometimes it really is luck, or some other force. I don't know. It's so hard to explain, because there are times I work so hard and nothing comes of it, and other
Right.
times where I wake up and I have this incredible opportunity just presented to me out of what
Yeah.
feels like the blue. So I think faith is incredibly important. You must have faith in yourself. You must have faith in your team. You must have faith in the people that you love and surround yourself with. It's
Absolutely.
really important to have, I don't want to call it a safety net, but I want to call it just like a it's like a group hug. I don't know. It sounds so cheesy, but
No,
it's like
no,
you want
I totally understand. I have a group of friends that are just, they're my inner circle that keep
yeah.
me sane. And I totally understand that. So do you think that your talents are God given?
Oh, this is also a really good question. I've been thinking about this
I
question a lot.
ask really good questions here on the house.
Yeah,
No one else could ask these questions. Talk
it's a
about,
great
the
question.
talent. No, it
I
totally
think
is.
about I
That's
think
just
about my
I
talent all
am.
the time from the perspective of my ancestors,
Mhm,
because I'm the first generation in my family that's gotten to pursue an art. You know,
mhm,
my grandparents were Holocaust survivors. Their whole lives were just survival.
right,
How do we keep our family fed and clothed and just survive? And
right,
then my parents were, you know, from the Soviet Union, lived in the Soviet Union, and their whole lives were very limited in the way that they could express themselves and the jobs they could choose. They pretty much had to become engineers, even though both of my parents, I think, are artistic in their own ways, and my mom was
sure.
definitely an artist.
Mhm.
And so when we immigrated to America when I was just a little kid, I was the first person in my entire ancestry who got this chance to pursue art. And I'm not saying my parents were very supportive at first. They really wanted me to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer.
I
you know,
understand that. But it's
but
the go-to profession, that it's a good profession. Art is,
yes,
art is,
security.
yes, art is very fickle, and fashion is
So
also fickle.
but they also taught me to be a fighter, and they taught me to
Mhm,
work hard. So they kind
mhm,
of turned me against them by accident, because by giving me these principles, I fought for what I wanted to do. And
right.
so I'm very aware of this. And so this is a kind of a long answer to a short question, but I feel like my talent is something I was born with. It is the accumulation of centuries and centuries of my ancestors, and all that they could do and all that they couldn't do. So I feel
Wow.
like there's a lot, like I feel them inside me when it comes to my talent. Like hard work is kind of a choice, and I think there is a genetic component to that as well. But
Right.
also, to answer your question about talent, I think talent is interesting because we all have talents, right? But it's
Yes.
about, how do you nurture the talent? Who is
Yes.
nurturing the talent? Which talents do you choose to nurture?
Mhm.
When I was a little kid, people responded very positively to my artistic skills. So I got a lot of positive feedback, and it helped sort of motivate me to keep nurturing that talent. But like everybody else, we all have, like, I'm a pretty good cook, but you don't see me being a chef, So it's like I do think that talents are God given or universe given or ancestry given in whatever way, but it's up to us and the people around us to
Oh,
nurture those talents so that we get to do what we
absolutely.
love.
Absolutely. If God gave you a gift, doesn't mean that he's gonna do the job for you. I totally understand, but I like your answer. Here's an answer that I don't know if you could necessarily take your brand into this question, but how would you describe a person to dress for a house of worship? How should a person dress in a house of worship?
Well, I definitely have an answer for this, Toby. So
Yeah, go
earlier
ahead.
in the
Go ahead.
episode, you were talking about how demure fashion is in style. And it
Right.
is interesting because fashion is very much an outward expression of our inward feelings, right? So
Right.
it's cyclical. We go through demure hills, then we go through less demure hills. And
Absolutely.
it just always comes back around. And so interestingly enough, although my line is a little bit scandalous, it's a little bit sheer, the way that celebrities wear it is not exactly demure. I
No,
actually have Orthodox Jewish clients in Los Angeles who layer my pieces over other pieces. As you can see, I'm wearing a long sleeve top right now that is made out of
that's why
metal.
I'm like, Natalia, I need to put your tops over my pieces because
Exactly. You
your
can.
layering is spectacular.
And a scarf like
Spectacular.
this, you can absolutely layer this onto whatever you're wearing. So my answer is I think you should dress fairly conservatively to a house of worship. I don't think it's about getting all this attention on yourself. So I actually would not necessarily recommend wearing my brand to a house of worship, not just because it's see-through, but because it's kind of flashy.
Right.
I think a house of
I
worship
get
is
it.
a place where you reflect out on other things other than just yourself and the way that you move in the world. You really need that time, and you need to maybe not worry about what people are thinking about the way you look, right? That's not what's important in that moment. What's
It's
important
not.
is,
Mhm.
yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Don't focus on you. You're focusing
Yeah,
on, where you are and who you stand in front of as opposed to you. But I have a question that I just added
yes.
on to my rapid fire
Sure.
questions, which I call these, because I think we're living in this particular time where a question like this is very well needed. If you could design a prayer for the world, what would that look like?
It is very much needed. I would just have to take a page. I'm not very religious, Toby, but I
It has
really do
nothing to
believe.
do with religion.
No, I know, but I really do believe in a lot of the lessons in the Bible just because they're
Right,
human nature and they're beautiful. And one of the lessons I believe in is do unto others as you would have them do unto you. And I
right.
think if we could all just walk in someone else's shoes for the day, that's my prayer. Because I think people learn best when they experience. So if everybody could just experience everybody else's truth, I think that is how we come to a place of healing. It's one thing just to wish for peace on earth. Of course, I want that. But I wish for the experience that allows us with our human nature to truly understand what it's like to be in someone else's shoes so that we can collectively heal the world, be better humans, be better to our environment, and just live a more peaceful existence.
Natalia, this was a delightful conversation.
Thank you.
I'm very happy that I can get a range of actually emotions
Yeah.
out of you, and it makes me like love you even more. And that's, I'm sure, reflective on your brand, and I think that's why so many celebrities gravitate towards you, because I think you have a little piece of Natalia in every single piece, and that's very attractive. So thank you so much for being here. Can you tell everybody where to find you, just in case they either launch their own entertainment career, become a movie star, or just want to dress like one? Where are they going to find you?
Please visit me on Instagram. That's the best way to interact with me, Natalia Fedner. And of
Mm-hmm.
course, my website, nataliafedner.com, if you'd want to go shopping. There's a lot of fun things out there. And don't be scared by the price points. We have incredible jewelry that I just started making that are a lot more demurely priced.
Demurely priced. Demure
Uh,
clothes can be very expensive, by the way. Demurely, that's so cute. Well, thank you so much for being here. I really, really enjoyed this conversation. I hope that all the people that are visiting the House of Faith and Fashion today enjoyed this. Listen, Natalia, my blessing to you is that Lady Gaga, Madonna, and Rihanna, they're going to be wearing your clothes. I just know it. I'm sending blessings out to you. And if these guys are watching, get her stuff.